Hey Tribe, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. And even though you're facing my tiny RV kitchen, we're not cooking today. We're cooking something up though. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my channel members. If you want to consider joining the tribe and becoming a channel member, you can do that for as little as 99 cents a month. Click the link over here, I think. And, or maybe over there. It'll be on the screen someplace. And if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Leave a comment, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Doesn't cost you anything, really helps out. All right, we're going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you what we got going on today.
Wake up with the sun in our eyes. Sally forth, no need for goodbyes. Journey calls, let's roll the dice. Every mile a new surprise.
This is a problem. Not very often, but occasionally. And I guess I'm going to have to go back and start in the bathroom to show you why this is actually a problem. Hang on. So if we look at the vent in the bathroom, you can see that this is recessed, right? You can see my finger up there. And so I was able to easily cut a piece of Reflectix. I don't know if I can do it with one hand, but it just pushes up in here and blocks cold in the winter, extreme heat in the summer, and light when I'm parked in a parking lot. Now, I've been living with that perfectly well, but I can't do that with this vent because there's no recess because of the knob and the ridge for the fan base. And the same thing with the one up in the front in the living room. So this one doesn't work for that application. And I've already cut Reflectix for all of my other windows and stuff previously. So here is what we got going on. So I got out the tape measure and I measured from this edge to this edge is 16 inches, same thing the other way. So it's 16 inches square to cover the entire outside, which will accommodate covering up the handle as well. And I've already cut the first one. So I measured out 16 by 16 inches. That's this piece right here. And I turned it upside down and now I'm just gonna draw a line on my next piece and cut out one for the other vent. So let me get that done and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. All right, so I've got my two main pieces cut out. And then this piece I've been carrying around for quite a while. And it happens to be a really good size to kind of fit in the center and add some extra insulation. So we're going to use that one. And this piece was left over from the roll that I was cutting off of. It's not quite as big, but you know, that's okay. It'll help. And so I'll end up using this one in the back because it's got the insulation of having the rainproof lid cover on the outside as well. So it's actually better insulated to begin with. And then I've got this adhesive, which I don't think is probably going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. I think it's still viable. We're going to find out. And what I'm going to do is glue each of these on. And then I'm going to line the edges of each one with duct tape so that they don't unravel. And then I'm going to add a little Velcro. I think I'm only going to use two pieces. Whoops. Like one on this side and one on this side. And then same thing on the Reflectix piece because I don't think I need to do four. And then I'll be able to seal off my vents and have a totally stealth van when I park in light. All right, so let me try the glue and see if that's going to work. Okay, finishing up this project has been a long time coming, but I'm planning to sleep in a Walmart tomorrow night, and the temperatures are getting colder, so I want to be able to keep my vents covered up, and from the standpoint of light in parking lots, but for the standpoint of increased insulation, as I'm here in Yellowstone camp hosting and the temperatures are getting colder. So, what happens next? I've taken one of these, cut it into 4 pieces. I'm going to put those 4 pieces on. And I almost think I'm going to want 8 pieces. I'm going to try 4 and see what happens first, though. Okay, so I've removed the adhesive from the 4 pieces I had already cut. What I'm not sure about is if they're all oriented in the same way, and I don't think it matters. But what I mean is one side is hook and one side is loop. So I've already cleaned off the frame of the fans using alcohol. And now we're going to go ahead and peel these off from this side, if I can get it started. This makes fascinating television, doesn't it? And let me put my camera down for a minute, use two hands to get these peeled off. Getting the backing peeled off was way more difficult than I expected it to be. And I think the fact that I wasn't paying attention to whether I was putting the hook side down or the loop side down to begin with, that may actually make these only fit one way when I remove them, you know, when I want to be able to use the fan. So again, this is going to take two hands, so I'll show you what it looks like once I stick it up there. Basically, at this point, I'm going to stick it up, and I'm going to hold each of the pads in place for about 30 seconds to give them a chance to adhere, and I'm going to just leave it alone, well, probably for at least the next 48 hours. So we'll see. There you have it. In place, hopefully sticking properly. Seems to be. And then the question becomes, do I end up adding anything to the corners? These three actually seem fine, but this is the one that has a little more gap because that's the handle that sticks down. So I'll think about that. I won't put it on the corner directly because there's the screw, but if I do it, I'll put like two little pads right there. We'll see. Still going to do the one in the bedroom. And then we'll see how it holds up 48 hours from now when I try and take it down. Alright, so for the second fan, I actually paid attention to the orientation. And these are all oriented so that the hook side will be in contact with the fan frame on the ceiling, and the loop side is attached to the Reflectix right here. Actually, they're both attached right now because I gotta go stick it up there. But I did that for two reasons. One is, I think the hook side will attract less dirt when it's sitting there not having the Reflectix cover over it. And also because the hook side is easier to peel the tape backing off of than the loop side is. So now we're going to go put this one up in the bedroom, and then, as I said, we'll see what we've got in about 48 hours.
Many months later.
Well, really many months later. It has been a long time since I've filmed two separate parts of this video. The first part I filmed in July when I started the project, and then I didn't have Velcro, and it took me a while before I got Velcro, and so I finally finished it in September when I was camp hosting in Yellowstone because I was concerned about how cold it was going to be overnight, so I wanted the extra insulation. But what I realized as I was editing this was that I'd never actually filmed a conclusion. They worked out really, really well. They're still working out really, really well. And so they get stored in the back in my storage area opposite my bed when I'm not using them. And I've used them a number of times. The Velcro has held up just fine. And in some ways, it's better to get this conclusion many months later to know that it actually did work and seems to be a worthwhile project. So, hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I truly appreciate you taking your time to watch my videos. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.